right, here we go with another round of notes, this time about the middle colonies. This should look very familiar because we did the northern colonies this week and last week. Just like last time, we have a pretty little map. I should have cut that out. If you want to cut that out and make it prettier, that would be cool. We're going to do the same thing we did last time on this side, and same thing on this side. We will start with New York here in just a minute. Make sure you're listening in case there's a special something or another thrown in there. Okay, let's get started because it's already 4:48 and I got laundry to do. Okay, so let's start with New York. When was New York founded? The colony began in 1621. Where? So where did it begin? It was just in the Manhattan Island area of New York. It obviously grew beyond that and became larger. Okay, for founder, they're just giving us the group of people that founded this colony, and that was the Dutch. People from the country we now call the Netherlands. Let's flip over to our map. All right, the New York colony, I'm going to shade it in pink. Make sure you choose a color. It could be pink, it could be something else. Whichever color you choose, make sure you color in that little box so I know you know that this is New York. And I'm going to quickly shade this in. I do know what my next question is going to be, but I'm keeping it a secret right now. All right, so there's New York. Oh, it also includes the island too. Almost forgot that. And then we also have a city. I'm going to use a fine point marker. This camera's backwards from real life, so I'm sitting here trying to move it in all sorts of directions. Okay, and that would be New York City, in case you hadn't guessed. The chinchillas over there making lots of noise. All right. And it's that little dot there. It doesn't look blue, I don't think, for you guys, because it doesn't look blue for me, but it's supposed to be blue. It's very dark. Okay, moving right along. Why was this colony founded? So why did the Dutch make this colony? Well, for one, they wanted land. And for two, a better life for themselves. So I can infer that their lives back home in the Netherlands weren't exactly the way they wanted it to be, which is why they left to make a better life elsewhere. All right, other. There's always a lot in this other section. In 1664, 3 English ships went to take over this area, which at the time was originally called New Netherlands by force. So when the Dutch came and made this colony, they didn't originally call it New York, because York is actually a city in England. They called it, the Dutch did, they called it New Netherlands because they were from the Netherlands. So that makes total and complete sense. But by 1664, the English had their eyes on this colony that they called New Netherlands, and they went and they took it. The Dutch colonists decided to surrender to the English, which is why the name changed from New Netherlands to New York. Their main city, they called New Amsterdam. Why New Amsterdam? Because Amsterdam it still is a city in the Netherlands. In fact, it's the capital of the Netherlands. And so they called it New Amsterdam. But when the English came and took this area, they didn't want to leave the name New Amsterdam. They wanted to change it to New York City. So that's an interesting piece of information for you. New York City was originally called New Amsterdam, and New York was originally called New Netherlands because it was founded by the Dutch. All right, moving along to New Jersey. Founded quite a ways away from 1621. It was in 1664. So just doing that quick math in my head, that's 43 years later. New Jersey, in case you don't know, is really close to New York. And this New Jersey started off a very small area near New York City. I'm going to abbreviate it as NYC. Most of us know that's New York City. The chinchillas. Calm down. Anybody watching this that's not a student of mine is probably thinking, what? What does she have chinchillas for? All right, so New Jersey, I'm going to shade it in green. Again, my box is going to match the color I'm going to use to shade in the area that New Jersey, the colony, which started off much smaller, eventually grew into. It looks very similar to the New Jersey we have today. All right, and the city that we're going to shade in, I'm going to do it in yellow. Yeah, you can see that, is Trenton. Trenton, I can't even see that at all. Oh well, I'm trying. It went over a little bit into this colony next door. All right, so Trenton, New Jersey, and New Jersey, the colony itself. Founder of New Jersey was a person of great influence and power, a man who was the Duke of York. There's that York again. Remember, York is an area in England. And he gave land to friends. So the Duke of York, he wouldn't have left York. He's the Duke. He's very powerful, wealthy person in that area in England. He wasn't coming over because he didn't need to look for a better life. He had a great one in England. But he gave this land to friends of his. Why was this colony founded? This one was founded to make money. All right. Proprietor's main goal was to make money. Yeah, we just wrote that. We're writing it again. Now, a proprietor is a fancy word for an owner. So a proprietor could own land. In this case, these friends of the Duke of York were the proprietors because they owned land. But proprietors can also be people who own businesses too. So think of proprietor as another word for owner of something. And money is, the outcome that they're looking for. Settlers who came to the colony of New Jersey were promised land. So these would be the people seeking a better life, the ones who actually physically moved to New Jersey. And religious freedom. Because again, I'll say it again, I'm saying it in every video. In England, people were not allowed to practice religion any way they chose to. It was expected, it was required that you were a part of the Church of England and that you worship in the ways outlined by the Church of England. So if you had different beliefs, you worshiped differently, you were persecuted, you were treated differently, sometimes even denied the ability to go and worship in the way you see fit. These people were also promised, in addition to land and religious freedom, a voice in their government. That's interesting. Okay, so that's it for the notes, but I have brought Trixie here because I just went over to the cage because there was a bunch of racket, and look what has happened to part of our schedule, which these two pieces were apart already. Sit still, Missy. But this was in the cage, so this got pulled out of the pocket, and chinchillas have been chomping on this. So as you know, chinchillas can't eat paper. This is something I'm going to have to watch. I'm sure she'll be fine, and Tabitha will be fine, but they are going to need some gas drops tonight just to make sure that they don't have an upset tummy. You're going to make your tummy upset. She's so squirmy. All right. No question, guys, in this one. So this is just me and Trixie signing off. Wishing you a fantastic day.